Let me ask you something. I want you to watch this. And this. Tell me what you think of this. How about this? Hi guys, Andrew here. Welcome as I take you in an in-depth journey into the world of Batman, one of the most iconic characters in popular culture. Over the years, several visionary directors have brought their unique interpretations of the Dark Knight to life on the big screen. Today, we'll explore how each of these filmmakers has shaped Batman, turning him into the multifaceted character we know and love. Tim Burton's Batman, released in 1989, marked a dramatic shift from the campy portrayal of the character in the 1960s TV series. Burton's vision was heavily influenced by the Gothic and Expressionist art movement. His films, Batman 1989 and Batman Returns 1992, are often praised for their dark, atmospheric tone and stunning visual style. Burton's Gotham City is a character in itself, an oppressive, towering metropolis filled with grotesque architecture and looming shadows. This design choice was heavily influenced by the comics of the 1980s, particularly Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns and Alan Moore's The Killing Joke. Both of these works reimagined Batman as a darker, more complex character, which Burton embraced fully. Michael Keaton's portrayal of Batman/Bruce Wayne is enigmatic and distant, reflecting the character's struggle with duality. Keaton's Batman is a figure of mystery, often speaking in short, clipped sentences and using silence as a tool to intimidate. This version of Batman is less about physical prowess and more about psychological warfare, a stark contrast to the more physically imposing versions that would come later. The villains in Burton's films are just as crucial to his interpretation of Batman. Jack Nicholson's Joker is a flamboyant yet terrifying figure, embodying chaos and anarchy, while Danny DeVito's Penguin and Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman in Batman Returns add layers of tragedy and complexity to the narrative. These villains mirror Batman's own struggles with identity and morality, making Burton's films not just superhero stories, but dark fairy tales about the nature of good and evil. Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy redefined the superhero genre with its grounded approach and complex storytelling. Nolan's films, starting with Batman Begins 2005, took Batman out of the realm of fantasy and placed him firmly in a world while still cinematic, felt real and relatable. Batman Begins explores Bruce Wayne's journey from a traumatized child to a symbol of hope for Gotham City. Nolan delves deep into the psychology of Batman, asking not just who Batman is, but why he exists. The film draws inspiration from classic Batman comics like Year One by Frank Miller, which also focuses on the early days of Batman's career and his struggle to find his place in a corrupt city. Christian Bale's Batman is defined by his moral code and his refusal to kill, a principle that is tested throughout the trilogy. This Batman is a symbol of resilience, constantly battling not just physical enemies, but also his own inner demons. Nolan's decision to explore the duality of Bruce Wayne and Batman adds layers of complexity to the character, making him more human and relatable. The Dark Knight 2008, the second film in the trilogy, is often regarded as one of the greatest superhero films of all time. It introduces Heath Ledger's Joker, a villain who embodies chaos and challenges Batman's ideals at every turn. The Joker's philosophy that anyone can be corrupted forces Batman to confront the fragility of his own moral code. This film is heavily influenced by comics like The Killing Joke and The Long Halloween, both of which explore the darker, more psychological aspects of Batman's world. The Dark Knight Rises 2012 concludes the trilogy by bringing Batman face-to-face with Bane, a villain who physically and mentally breaks him. This film explores themes of redemption and sacrifice, drawing from the Nightfall storyline in the comics, where Bane famously breaks Batman's back. Nolan's trilogy ends on a note of hope, with Bruce Wayne finally finding peace, passing on the mantle of Batman to the next generation. Zack Snyder's interpretation of Batman, introduced in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice 2016, is a departure from the more grounded portrayals that came before. Snyder's Batman is a mythic figure, larger than life and deeply flawed. This version of Batman is heavily inspired by Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, one of the most influential Batman stories ever told. Ben Affleck's Batman is older, more jaded, and brutal. He operates with a sense of desperation, having lost many of the people closest to him. This Batman is a vigilante who has been pushed to the brink, willing to cross lines lines that other versions of the character would not. Snyder's films explore the idea of Batman as a symbol of fear, someone who uses brutality as a means to an end, rather than a hero in the traditional sense. Snyder's visual style is grand and operatic, with Batman often framed as a tragic hero. His suit is bulkier, inspired by the armor worn by Batman in The Dark Knight Returns, and his fighting style is brutal and efficient, reflecting his years of experience. Snyder's Batman is not just a hero, he's a warrior, battling not just criminals but also the gods themselves, as seen in the Justice League films. Themes of sacrifice and redemption are central to Snyder's portrayal. In Batman v Superman, Batman is initially portrayed as a figure consumed by anger and vengeance, but by the end of the film, he finds a new purpose inspired by Superman's selflessness. This sets the stage for his role in Justice League 2017/2021, where he becomes a leader, uniting heroes to face a greater threat. Matt Reeves' Batman, as seen in The Batman 2022, brings the character back to his roots as the world's greatest detective. Reeves' film is a noir-inspired take on The Dark Knight, heavily influenced by classic detective stories and graphic novels like Batman Year One and The Long Halloween. Robert Pattinson's Batman is younger, less experienced, and more vulnerable than previous cinematic incarnations. This Batman is still finding his way, struggling with his own identity and the legacy of his family. Reeves' film focuses on Batman's detective skills, a crucial aspect of the character that has often been underplayed in other adaptations. Gotham City in Reeves' film is a decaying, corrupt metropolis, a character in its own right. The film's aesthetic is gritty and grounded, with a visual style that emphasizes shadows and rain-soaked streets, evoking the feeling of a classic noir film. The Batman of this world is a relentless investigator, piecing together clues in a city that is falling apart. The Riddler, portrayed by Paul Dano, serves as the primary antagonist, challenging Batman's intellect rather than his physical ability. This version of the Riddler is more akin to a serial killer, drawing inspiration from real-life figures and classic crime thrillers like Say 7. The film explores themes of corruption, legacy, and the impact of trauma, both on Batman himself and the city he seeks to protect. Reeves' Batman is not yet the fully formed hero we know from other adaptations. Instead, he's a man driven by a deep sense of justice, still learning what it means to be a symbol for Gotham. The film ends on a note of evolution, with Batman realizing that he must be more than just a force of vengeance. He must be a beacon of hope. Through these diverse cinematic interpretations, Batman remains one of the most enduring and complex characters in popular culture. Each director has left their mark on The Dark Knight, adding new layers to his mythology and ensuring that Batman continues to resonate with audiences across generations. Whether as a gothic avenger, a grounded hero, a mythic figure, or a detective, Batman's legacy in cinema is as rich and varied as the character himself. Please do leave a like if you find this content enjoyable. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.